Hello and welcome to the channel. Odyssey of the Beast, aka OOTB here. This video will be the start of my channel where I make a progression series on the 5th Old School RuneScape Leagues 8-week long event. This first video in the series is my tentative route or path that I'll be taking during the series, along with my thought processes on each part of my build. So to start off, I need to establish what I'm playing for, and you can bet that's gonna be the Dragon Cup. I've played all of the previous leagues and I always end up coming one tier short. Rune Cup King, am I right? This year I'm trying to change that. Anyway, I'm trying to do this as AFK as possible. Get max level, max gear for my regions, kill Zuck, and get the Prince Black Dragon pet. And yeah, I spoiled one of my regions. I'm going to the wilderness. Before I continue with my relic choices, I want to give a shout out to Double Shine and Gecko for creating this spreadsheet. It has so much information on it into one place. If you're watching this and you haven't checked out his channel, go do that after this video. You won't regret it at all. So, as you guys can see, my regions are Wilderness first, Turanwin second, Fremnik third. I chose these based on the Echo bosses and their drops, because in my other leagues, I wasn't able to get all the gear I wanted. My RNG was the worst, and I didn't have enough time. I couldn't dedicate enough time to the brute forcing of drops. Just too many KC to do. I couldn't do it all. This time I figured, why not get all my gear from each of the region's bosses? I mean, it's simple enough that each Echo boss will be dropping a slot for me, so to speak. You have the one-handed Kopesh and the offhand Joey Wheeler shield, or the 1000 Dragon shield. You have the Crystal Blessing, the Emperor Ring, Amulet of the Monarchs, and the Emperor Ring. Each one of those fills out my entire setup. You'll see that later, though. For the part everyone loves, the part that everyone debates about, that's excited for, is the relic selections. I'm not 100% on some of the relics that I'm choosing, and it stands to reason that I could change them, but here they are. Obviously, you got the Animal Wrangler first. You got to go with Animal Wrangler. It's more AFK fishing, passive cooking, a bump to Hunter. You have the Dodgy Deeds, Dirty Dan, Dodgy Delio, whatever this thing is called. It's my number one choice, but I'm still debating on what I want to choose. I mean, I hate agility training. I have some decent methods with Prif and Fremnik, but don't know. Herblore is a drag. I don't want to farm secondaries. But the benefits of DD is so good early game. There's already many tasks of thieving, making it the top contender. You got Clue Compass. Clue Compass is hands down the best relic to choose for my regions. I mean, I get an instant teleport to KBD, to the DKs, assuming I get the clue step for it. And obviously you teleport to your clue steps. And even though they said that the clues are nerfed in total points, I think that it'll be an easy source of late game points. Especially with the fill X amount of collection log slot tasks. It should be easy enough to go there. This is where I get into a little fork in the road. You have two separate tiers that I'm kind of debating on. You have Reloaded for picking either the agility or the Herblore relics, or you also have Golden God for easy magic XP, prayer, and GP. And then the tier after that, you have the Slayer Master and you have the Clue Master. Let's start with this first one right here, the difficult choice, Golden God versus Reloaded. I know Golden God has diminishing returns late in the leagues, but in the early game, it's incredible. I'd be able to bypass a lot of stuff to get to my other relics with the points that this relic gives me. Do my regions have really good GP and prayer sources? Yes, they do. They have dragons, they have Vorkath, they have revs. But on the other hand, there are a lot of things to spend GP on. For example, you have 5 million GP for relocating your respawn, which I believe in the last, I think 2 leagues ago or a league past, it was a task to do that. I also have to fund construction the 250 mil GP crown in Turanwin, crafting to buy, smithing to buy, unless I do the whole thieving elves trick. Now you also have fletching to buy. I could also, instead of using Vorkath bones for GP, since I'm using Golden God, I could use those Vorkath bones for Herblore secondary instead of using them on the altar. I don't know yet. It just seems like a lot of money that'll propel my account forward early. And I'm not the type of person to try and alch while I run, or going from task to task, or doing agility like alching at the same time. I'm not one of those people. I want to do AFK, least click intensive methods. That's what I'd rather do. I'd rather PVM and alch at the same time. It's more my playstyle. Now, reloaded. It lets me choose another relic from the previous tier, so making agility or secondaries a non-factor. I wouldn't choose the axe. I would not choose the axe, that's why I left them out, or the pickaxe, because I can get those from Volcano. They just wouldn't have the secondary effects of smelting or burning and fletching logs. So I would swap out the Golden God. I would miss out on early GP, passive magic, and easy prayer, but I would also get, in return, passive agility or Herblore. Especially with those secondaries, which I'll talk about later in the video. You'll see my thoughts on secondaries later in the video. Here, I don't think I can pass up Golden God just for the agility or the Herblore. I'm not too sure yet. Now, for the Slayer versus Clues. If Clues are knocked down a bit, I think that Slayer is de facto best in the tier. Regardless, doing Slayer tests and PVM gets a ton of clues anyways. The only benefits for the clue relic would be shorter steps, max rewards, not having items requirements for certain steps. I for sure am not sweating my ass off doing Production Master. That's a no-go. For now, I'm going to stick to Golden God and Slayer Master, but we'll see how that changes. I'm picking Banker's Note for the refrigerator food during instance bosses, since I'm bad. I'm really bad at the game. It helps with AFK skills like mining and woodcutting as well. And also, with a looting bag, I would have double inventory. I would have one bag for drops and the other one for supplies, so it's pretty nice. Overgrown because I hate farming. The Grimoire is about a 10-second buff to DPS at max, I think, with most bosses. I don't think it trumps skipping over farming. I'd rather skip farming, just have it do it passively. AFK, once again, is the name of the game. Pocket Miscellanea, I'm not doing that. I already have Fremnik, so there's no point in using a relic on something that I have access to already. And then last one is Last Stand, or like I like to call it, the Wings of Redemption, because I am bad at the game. I'm going to keep saying that in this video. I am bad at this game. Anything that comes close to killing me, it's going to meet its maker at the end of at the end of the day by the hand of a 255 stat boosted 1-tick blowpipe. I think that's enough said. Spec, Guardian, those relics, they're not going to help someone who planks as much as I do. Now, combat masteries. I'm debating a 460 range build or a 640 melee build because of the Kopesh. I could try a 361, but I'm not sure yet. I would need to get my hands on the Kopesh before I start trying to wiggle with that. I can start grinding the hard content of the game, probably with a 4 into range, while I wait for a better idea of how the Kopesh works, but I don't know. We'll put a pin in this. Early game setups. This is what I'll be taking into the wilderness. This is first set right here, and probably this set right here. My mage and my range setup. So this is probably what I'll be taking into the archaeologist, which you'll see later. And this is probably what I'll be taking into Scurious. This is what I get from the wilderness, what I get from revs. The end game setups is what I've thought up for my regions. I have a wilderness set. I have a standard set with a spec set and an alternative. So just in case if I face certain bosses, I have the dragon bolts. You have the bowfire and you have the blowpipe and then the crossbow over here. Same thing for the melee, but I also included the zombie axe. I haven't used it. I don't know much about it, but people say it's good. So we'll see. I have the crystal halberd, the Kopesh, with the Joey Wheeler ward on all of them, and then the Ursine chain mace. And for each of them, they all have the little ether bracelet. My mage setup after the Virtus grind at Duke, and after trying to kill Corp, we'll see how that goes. Assuming I don't get this shield, I would probably have to use the Malediction ward, I think it is, if I can get that one. You also have the Demon Bane weapon from the Tormented Demons, some Lunar Gloves. Other than that, it's pretty standard clue stuff, Wilderness setup, Mage Cape. These are the tasks from the Wilderness, as well as how they are split up for each category in terms of how many tasks. This is the Elven Lands, otherwise known as Turanwin, and you have Fremnik. So I'm looking at a total of maybe around 28 to 29,000 points from completing all tasks in my region, and I know there's about 43,000 or so from the global or the worldwide task list. I'm not sure how many points it'll take to get to Dragon Cup. I'm assuming it's going to be like last league, maybe about 56,000, 58,000. We'll see. I don't know. So now for what I was talking about earlier, the important drops. All right, so this is the ones from the Wilderness. Obviously, you got that KBD pet and the Dragon Pickaxe from almost every single boss. Like literally every boss will drop that for you. From Revs, I'm going to be getting money, the Wilderness weapons, supplies, alchables, those totem pieces for money. That's the main thing from them. The Slayer Master over here, Cristelia, she's going to be giving me a ton of keys. That's the number one, is a ton of keys for the Wilderness robe set and a bunch of supplies. Noted would be the essence would be my number one way to get through rune crafting. I would just use the Abyss and then all of the rune essence that's dropped from here in Zulrah, which you'll see later as well. At the bottom, we got Archaeologist. At the bottom left over here, he's one of the most important drops for the rune crossbow for this playthrough. He also gives me some dragon arrows, which are on his back, and those rune knives. He has the Chaos Elemental across from him, dropping that nuke. Dropping that missile rune dart on his head. They're over here having combat in the Wilderness. Realistically, that's the only thing I want from the Chaos Elemental, is the rune darts. Don't really care about anything else if I get the pet, whoop-de-doo. You have the trio of Wildy Big Boys over here. Yes, they gave me their weapons and they dropped the Wildy piece or whatever to upgrade them. I don't really care. I just hate secondary farming, and I think this will give me a little bit of incentive to farm them for secondaries. So it makes grinding out those pieces for the Wilderness weapon a little bit more bearable. Not to mention that he drops Sandfew serums as well. He drops coconuts, which could be used for farming if I needed to, but they could also be used as a secondary. In Turanwin, we got 5 things of importance. We got the Gauntlet. We got Zulrah. We got Pickpocketing Elves. We got the Dark Beasts. And we got Zolcano. In that order, in terms of importance. Gauntlet gives me the best set of armor. It gives me my weapon. It gives me that blessing. And it also gives me a ton of alchables, runes, all that stuff. Zulrah gives me a whole host of valuable drops. The one-tick blowpipe, the completed trident, the Serpalm, herbs, onyx, more rune crafting supplies, venom antidotes, I think it is, to make anti-venoms. That's so much here from Zora that's too important. The elves will give me crafting and smithing XP if I'm feeling up to doing that dodgy deal, dirty Dan, whatever it is. That little that AFK thieving grind to see if I can get a bunch of shards from them. Dark beasts. Now they make me rain super powered dragon arrows. It's a 4-tick speed, essentially faster than a T-bow in main game, or the same speed as the main game Bofa. It's not bad. It does make me want to choose the spec relic, but I don't think I will. For Fremnik, it's just more supply drops, notable ones being the unfinished dragon bolts. You also have the dragon arrow tips. You also have wrath runes for that one-time cast of that one spell. I forget what it is, just in case if I need to. You have the backpack upgrade, a dragon axe, dragon limbs, super important for that crossbow. And cool little bit of information if you didn't already know. The Fremnik region, if you go for it, it gives you the ice gloves for free. They go straight to your bank when you unlock the region. You don't even need Asgarnia for them. Just enjoy smithing if you're going through the Dwarven route, and then you could also pickpocket Tazar using those gloves, so easy pick right there. Now, almost closing the video out, almost done here. Some of the complications that I've thought of when I'm doing this league. I'm bad at the game, like I've said. Zuck, Echo Hunlif, they're going to be tough fights because of the mechanics and my timing, respectively. I'm not the best with maintaining lava pillars, so those things can fall down, make my life a lot worse. I'm not really good at timing the totem that you have to follow back and forth for the Inferno fight. I wasn't able to finish the fight last leagues, even though I had him down to 200 HP. The totem fell down, and I still had those two bosses behind me. So I got the little dude shooting fire at me. This boy was shooting at me, and the two guys behind shooting at me. Couldn't do it. Hunlif's tornadoes, the floor tiles that change, the prayer flicking, movement, it's going to cause me a whole bunch of frustration. Don't think I'll be able to do it well. And then Corp, I'm stuck fighting it without defense reduction. Making him a 2000 HP tank. Big boy. I think I saw on the DPS calculator it would take me about 2 minutes per kill, which isn't bad, but it's not as fast as it could be with defense reduction. We'll see. Now, my way to circumvent these challenges. These are the ways that I thought of to beat him. So for Corp, I'd have to either go Kopesh with the Ember Light, go full on melee smacks, hope I don't get stomped to the moon, or I could use the Dragon Crossbow with Ruby Bolt E, Onyx Bolt E, send it back to Lumbridge. Cool thing about the Wings of Redemption relic is that if I do die, I can switch to the one tick blowpipe and turret stand him. Probably kill him quickly that way. Cool thing about Corp is when I'm using these Onyx Bolt E's at the bottom here, Corp refunds them. He does drop Onyx Bolts. If I'm not mistaken, either tips or Onyx Bolts themselves. You just have to enchant them. For Zuck, it's just going to have to be patience for the waves. Take my time. Use the Bofa behind the totem once I get to him until I die. And then once I do die, Wings of Redemption, blowpipe tank at the end of that fight. Essentially just stand 1-to-1 with Zuck and hope I don't die in those 10 seconds. Well, in the seconds after those 10. So I either have to kill him or... Sorry about that. I either have to kill him or I die. And then for Hunlif, I'm probably going to have to just use one style. Either ranged or melee. I'm not sure which one I'm going with yet. I heard that using melee is good if you know how to Wooks Walk the tornadoes, I think it is. So I have to get studying in the ways of the Wooks Walk. I do not know how to do that yet. I think Wooks Walking is also good for, what's his name? Vorkath. So using this for Vorkath and for Hunlif would be pretty good. So I think melee might be a good good route to go, but I do want to do range as well. Never missing is good. Anyways, sorry that you saw this one already, but that's it for the long video that I just made. I'll be streaming the leagues on Twitch the morning of the release around 7 to 8 a.m. EST. That's going to be tomorrow morning, 11/27, 2024. Hope to see you there. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment down below what your plans are or what you think I should change in mine. Take care.